Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IndieQuebec.com interview series. This show will be brought to you by the X-Pac Make Some Noise contest. If you'd like to win an X-Pac Mattel Elite action figure, all you got to do is like the IndieQuebec.com Facebook page. Anyone who likes it before the end of January will be entered into this contest. Go like it now. You get a free X-Pac figure. It's a beautiful figure going for all kinds of money, sold out everywhere. It's Christmas, baby. Christmas in January. We're getting to our guest here. He was and is one of the most influential wrestlers of the Quebec indie scene of the past decade. Definitely one of the most controversial wrestlers on the Quebec indie scene of the past decade. He's a veteran of the Quebec indie scene, and he is also a worldwide superstar. He has many nicknames, but this man is the franchise, Brad Alekxis. Welcome to the show, Brad.
What's good, my G's?
He is also a member of the Black Québécois and the Black Fists. How about we get right into that, Brad? How did it all come about? Joining back with your longtime team, the Black Fists. How did that all come back together?
Well, actually, at the MEW, they wanted to do this later on down the road, but since Rich Swann couldn't make it past the border of that show, it was kind of like the time to do it. They needed to fucking get that show started off with a bang. So they said, why not put Mike Patterson, Jeremy Prophet, and Brad Alekxis back together, form that unity that run the IWS a couple of years back. Because nobody could not say that gimmick was, that whole storyline, the Black Fist in IWS was hot shit during that time when IWS came back. So why not do it somewhere else? And that's exactly what we decided to do. That's right.
I think everyone who was keeping abreast of what's going on in the Quebec indie scene was really surprised to see that. That was probably one of the biggest surprises of the year since indie wrestling has come back in Quebec, the return of the Black Fist.
And let's just say that any time that me and Jeremy Prophet get together, and even Mike Patterson, but more me and Jeremy Prophet, because we've been wrestling for the last couple of years, man. But any time that we tag together, that we team together, that we work together, like me managing him, or that even if we wrestle against each other, it's fucking money. It's money. It's money. It's money. It's money. You got two of the best talkers, two of the best wrestlers, two of the best entertainers clashing at each other or working together on, I mean, for any show, it's money.
Indeed. And I see that you've also joined the Black Fists, the Black Québécois.
Black Québécois at XZW
how
in
how did this all happen? The Black Québécois. And so now, Brad Alekxis, he's wrestled all over the territory, pretty much every federation. But there was always on the map, I guess, that city, Sorel.
Sorel, I wrestled there once back in the day, but it never got to where it wanted to be. I don't know. Anytime that Oz is booking, I guess he just doesn't know how to use me or doesn't like me that well. Who knows? But like, he didn't know what to do with me. I believe that he thought I was too much. I asked for too much money. Anyways, that's another story. But now it was actually Prophet that talked about me coming back to XZW. He wanted me to come there and help him and Carl. I mean, Carl's a young guy on the force right now, and like, the more help that he could get, it's just the more better he's going to get. He's already good, but we want to make him very good. I specifically have a thing for big men in wrestling. Like, there's not a lot of big men, especially in indie wrestling. And sometimes they don't know how to fucking portray themselves or use their bigness to their advantage. And then you see a lot of big guys who are like 300, 200, 250 pounds, 200 pounds, who are wrestling like a cruiserweight, when in reality, they should be beating the shit out of the cruiserweights. So I want to help him in that guidance of like, yo, you're a big man, dude. That's what you're going to be doing. So he's going to learn a lot. especially
Definitely
tagging with
being in
Profit.
a stable with you guys, that'll definitely be great. A great learning experience for Carl.
And we have one of the best, undoubtedly, unarguably, is that how you say it? Arguably one of the best female wrestlers in the province, Jessica Black, in the stable too. So it's money.
Indeed, she's
money.
one of the most decorated women wrestlers of the past decade in Quebec. Definitely. I think I seen a post that you guys made that there's no weak link in this group, and I think that's true. It's 4 really strong.
Carl being the
You all
young
have
guy.
your own force. You all have your own strong point that you bring to the table.
Of course. And I just find it cool that we're gonna be using the Freebird rules. So it's either gonna be me and Jeremy. It could be me and Carl. It could be Carl and Jeremy. It could be any of those 3 combinations. Hell, we could throw Jessica in that into that mix too. It could be a mixed tag match, and that's exactly what's going to be happening in a couple of weeks in the next NW. Probably going to be passed by that time, but Jeremy's tagging with Jessica in the match, and I'm tagging with Carl. So Black Quebecois featured on 2 matches in Sorel. Sorel has a great card, dude. There's a lot of great things going on in Sorel. So like, when I see a promotion doing good things in a short period of time, especially since coming back from the pandemic, I want to work there. I want to help out. I want to see what we could do to elevate the promotion to another level.
That's great. It's always cool too, like, because there's only so much time. Some guys, you just won't have time to work at a certain place. And then it's cool to see over the years, people move around a bit, how the territory moves around, and you get to see different matchups, all the different fans of the different regions. You know,
like I was in Quebec City,
different guy.
Like I wrestled in Quebec City for about 5 years, and like after a while, well, we know what's the story of me not going there anymore. But anyways, but after a while, you got to go check out other places. You just can't stay stagnant at the same place, especially in indie wrestling. It's not talking about contract wrestling where you're under a contract or whatever. It's indie wrestling. You're supposed to parade around and like a hooker and go from town to town and show what you could do. And you know, you go to another town, maybe someone's gonna say that you're the shits. Maybe you'll go to another town, someone says that you're God's gift to wrestling.
And
that's the beauty of going to wrestle everywhere.
It's always good to give people a fresh look. I mean, no, like it's like a TV show. Even some great shows only last like 5 seasons, you know? Some bands only make 4 albums their whole career, and they're considered like legendary, you know? Yeah, so basically, like everyone, and as we still are affected by COVID, but let's just go back over. I think you have one of the most unique COVID stories, and leading up to it, like, so you had started, say, the last decade, you had started really traveling around, and really your career was really on an upswing. You were really
between 2017 and 2018 and 2017. That's when I really started traveling, like going overseas and checking out other places and wrestling way more. Like really 2016 and on, I was wrestling like 3 times, maybe 4 times a week.
That's right. Yeah. Almost a full-time schedule, as much of a full-time schedule as you can have in indie wrestling. There were some years that I've seen people had calculated who had the most matches in Quebec, and you were the #1 on that list.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere in New Brunswick, let's go over.
January 2020.
January 2020.
Doing a match with Little Blaine Security with Benjamin Tull, tagging with Benjamin Tull. The last move of the match was a Doomsday Device with a drop kick. I got drop kick, backflipped from the drop kick, and my leg clipped the rope, causing my tibia and fibula to break into 3 places, in 3 pieces. I broke in 3 places.
It was a horrible injury.
It hurt, man. What people don't know is before that, I secured myself a booking in Los Angeles for a TV station. I was supposed to go there in February. I had the plane ticket bought because this was in January. So I had already the plane ticket bought. I was going to be in Los Angeles for 3 days. Going to go watch the Lakers, going to go watch the Kings play. It was all set up, and then the leg break. So for my traveling and everything, it was crazy and chaotic. I was at home for a while, obviously. And once the doctor told me that I could start going back to the gym in March, the end of March, end of February, sorry. End of February? No, in March. It was an end of March because that's when they started closing everything. The end of March, that's when the pandemic really the full process of the lockdown. And so you could just imagine a guy who's stuck at home, who's always on the run doing things, and you're finally get the green light from the doctor of like, you could start exercising, start going to the gym. And then the government says, no, you're staying at home for X amount of months again. So it was really hard on me, man. Like, I don't know if I could say depression. I don't know if I know I was in a bad way, meaning like, you see who your real friends are. There's people obviously that came to see me and stuff, but like the people that you expected to see you didn't come, and people that you fenced for, that you had their backs and for everything, and then you saw that they weren't there for you really, and you're like, wow, what the fuck? So it just really wrenches onto you. You're like, okay, this is what life is. Okay, we're not everybody's friends with everybody. So like during that time, I could say my asshole level went up more, because it coincides with me starting kayfabe breaking, but that was during the pandemic. And there's a lot of wrestlers and promoters that love the show, but there's some promoters and wrestlers that think the show was started pretty much because I was down and out because of my leg. But in reality, it was a realization of like, hey, I've shut my mouth for so many goddamn years of like having people talk to me like shit in locker rooms, or like, you know, I'll even throw in racial shit in locker rooms, or guys who complained that they didn't want to lose and shit like that. I just shut my mouth about it for years. And I'm just like, I got fed up kind of thing of like, let's say protecting people. And I'm like, well, if people will just sit there and make fun of me and oh, Brad does a botch here, or like, oh, look, you're doing the dark match today, the typical black joke for a wrestler. It's like, well, you know what? Your ex-girlfriend told me I had a small dick. Well, how about I start saying shit like that then? You know, it's a fair ball. If you're gonna insult me, how come I can't insult you? And then, you know, if you could insult people by tapping, clippity clapping on the internet, then if I have a web show and I'm saying it, what's the difference?
What's the difference? I agree. You just happen to be better at the technology side than most people.
And the thing is, I started the show really not only to vent things about wrestling that should be talked about, but in reality, it was just to stay relevant, because nobody was doing anything.
Nothing was happening.
Wrestling was done. There was no outlet to see Quebec wrestling or talk about Quebec wrestling. So why not talk about shit like that? Why not have a podcast about Quebec wrestling? Chris Jericho has a podcast. He talks about AEW. I always use this example. Or Stone Cold has a podcast. He talks about WWE. They don't go firing them or saying, stop talking about us. No. But here, it's a different story. Well, you're talking bad about us. Well, we won't book you anymore. But that's where the joke's on them. Because since the pandemic, and I guess this is what we're going to come down to, is I've traveled I've done a tour in Western Canada. I've done a 2-week tour in Mexico. I'm slated to go in Amsterdam to do a show in February. In April, there's shows. I'm going in December, going to Greektown Wrestling again. So it's
Things
like
are going good for the
the
franchise.
places that I've wrestled for 3-5 years here are butthurt because I talked about people or whatever on my show. Well, I already wrestled there.
Right.
I could evolve and do something
You've had
different,
a run,
but if you don't want me to be there, why should I want to be there? I'll go to places where they want me to be. And hell, if it's 5,000 miles away, might sound like an asshole because we're in podcast mode, but Gucci will go 5,000 miles away and go and wrestle. Got to spend my money somehow.
So one thing I would definitely say is it has to be known that what you say on kayfabe breaking is what a lot of wrestlers say in the locker rooms, before the shows, hanging out, between themselves. They just won't say it in public.
I've had a lot of wrestlers who DM me after some shows and literally tell me exactly what you're saying is, bro, I agree with you. I just can't say it publicly.
Because they're fearing that they're gonna get silenced, or they'll get not booked by bookers.
But that's the problem nowadays. You can't even speak your mind without. Oh, if you speak your mind against someone, you hate them. You automatically hate them. When in reality, I don't even give a shit. I'm just speaking my mind about. Doesn't mean I'm gonna see him in the street and be like, "Hey, remember what he said about you? Well, go fuck yourself," and start beating the shit about them. I don't have time for that. But like, well, people think I have time for that. They just think I just insult people and then wait for them in the streets to go beat the shit out of them. And you know, it's not even like I said, it's not even an insult half the time. It's my opinion. Now, if you perceive my opinion as an insult, another story.
I haven't seen you really insult that many people.
Like I say things a lot, like really passionately, like I might say it yelling or flapping my hands a lot about it, and then someone would be like, "Well, he's really mad." I'm like, "No, I'm a Scorpio. I'm passionate about when I talk about stuff. So like, I might sound like I'm attacking someone, but I'm like, I got to get everything out now. You have to know what it is. And like, if it's going to hurt you, I'm sorry, but like, you're going to hear it now. But you know what? At the end, I'll be happy because I let the truth come out in one shot.
And it's your show.
Yeah.
People have this cancel culture mentality today where they think, oh, I don't like what this guy's doing, so I'm gonna try to make it awkward and make it not like, and just try to make you stop what you're doing. But in reality, you're the boss of your show. It's like Joe Rogan. No one can cancel Joe Rogan. He can say whatever the hell he wants on his show.
Yeah.
You have the right to your opinion. And one thing I think above all else that's important here is I think the fans like to hear the truth, you know, and the truth has to come out somewhere. The fans between themselves, they're going to hear all kinds of rumors over the years. I think that they would like to hear someone really like telling them to their face their opinion. And
of course people want to hear it. You know what? When I first started out, you think that like the people are getting mad about it. And I'm like, you know what? You think it's like 5,000 people watching it live? At that time, I maybe had 5-10 people watching, bro. And people were getting mad. I'm like, you're getting mad for 7 fucking people, man? We're blowing this shit out of fucking proportion. Do I have to go and kiss the wrestlers that I insulted to make them feel like, hey, he's not going to hurt me?
What I find doesn't make sense in all this, in all honesty, is that, then we'll move on from this topic, but just how if a wrestler in the same position would have written the same thing as a post, that maybe more people would have seen, that wouldn't have mattered. But for some reason, because you do it on a show, that seems to be the big issue. And I don't understand that whatsoever.
I don't know.
Indie wrestling, you're allowed to make as many shows and do work for whoever you want. You're your own boss. So
I guess it's better if I post stuff about food.
everyone's got to eat, I guess, my friend. So we moved on somehow, some way, out of nowhere. Quebec hears Brad Alekxis in Mexico.
Are you sure that Quebec heard that? Because I'm not sure they did. I don't think anybody in Quebec got the memo of that.
Well, let's get into it. We've seen you had come back from your injury. You had started having some runs you had done. We hadn't talked a bit about Seaway Valley Wrestling, where you had started to wrestle. You're also a poster boy there. We see you on all the posters for the shows.
I love Seaway Valley.
Cornwall. We hope we have some listeners in Cornwall.
Hell yeah! I was supposed to start in Seaway
contest.
Valley before I was supposed to start before the pandemic. So it was so great that one of my I think it was my second match back from the injury was at Seaway Valley. It was such a great feeling just to come out and get the job done, wrestle against one of the new up and comers, Hot Stepper McRae. I had a great match with him, and like for me, not for like a lot of people, but like, let's honestly be, for me, it was fucking monumental. Like, hey, I did a match. Hey, we're back. This is the second match in. I'm back. I'm not feeling any pain in the leg. I feel that I can do it again. So that was a great moment. And like Seaway Valley, that's why Seaway Valley Wrestling will always be in my motherfucking black heart. But I love these motherfuckers. Like to Seaway Valley.
Indeed, man. It looks like they're doing some great things there.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So it's like a new era for Brad Alekxis. What's going on? How did the whole Mexico thing come together?
So when it coincides with the story talking about breaking my leg, in that match was Little Blade. So we have stayed in touch since that incident. It's like the reverse Owen Hart Stone Cold stuff. Like he made sure that I was okay, and he made sure that to make sure that he didn't have any guilt. Even though I reassured him every time it wasn't his fault, and like we just got a special bond that grew from that incident. And like when he moved to Mexico and he would start touring there, he was actually messaging me here and there and be like, bro, you got to come to Mexico. And at first I was like, yeah, I'll come eventually. I got to go to Europe first. I have to go other places first. And it kept saying it, and it kept getting in my back of my head. And with all the whole the lockdown situation in Europe was more stronger than in Mexico. So I was like, well, you know what? I want to go to Europe, but I could go next year. So let's go somewhere new. Let's go to Mexico. So I got the hookup, flew down there, met the clique that pretty much Little Blade chills with, Sweet Daddy Soul, the Giant Orion. KB6 flew down later on. He's from Alberta. But Sweet Daddy Soul, he had a place that we were living at. He has a big Airbnb where wrestlers could rent out rooms, pretty much like a dorm. It's amazing. Being with a bunch of other wrestlers too. So shout out to Sweet Daddy Soul. He had the hookup. He knows most of the organizations, just like Little Blade does and Giant Orion does. They already pretty much implemented themselves as the Canadians of the place. So pretty much I had 3 bookings already lined up before even flying down. I was already on posters. For some people, that's unheard of, because you got guys in Quebec. There was ICW guys who went down to Mexico. They're on. I don't even know what show they're on, bro. It's not. I don't want to disrespect their tour or anything like that, but they went down, and that was it. I don't know if they did more than one show.
Maybe went down for one show.
You know, but like, I think it was more for vacation shit. But like,
well, that's cool too. And all.
But that's cool.
Fine.
But
yeah, you already had 3 bookings.
I don't want to compare shit either. I believe when Bailey went down, Bailey wrestled for AAA. I'm pretty sure he did, bro. Because I remember marking out. I reshared that shit. But I don't know anyone else in Quebec that wrestled for like known organizations. Like, there's a lot of promotions in Mexico. It's not to dumb that shit down. There's a lot of promotions in Mexico. There's 4 shows on one night on a Sunday, and all shows were sold out.
So it's even bigger than in Quebec.
But
way bigger.
There's no, in the last couple of years, there's no guy from Quebec who's gone down, wrestled 2 shows in Guadalajara, get over. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. Actually go to a place and you're over. Okay.
Awesome.
Then you go 6 hours to Mexico City. You wrestle in Arena Lopez Mateo. You wrestle in Tula in an old Toro Stadium in an outdoor arena. You wrestle in Aztec Budokan Arena, man. And it's like, yo, these are not small fucking time places. It's AAA. It's AULL. You got guys from the CMLL who wrestle at these places, bro. You got big time promoters, Esther Moreno, Hector Guzman, bro. These are all big time fucking people, bro. And
so right away, how did it feel when you got down there? The atmosphere,
it was crazy, bro. I thought Little Blay was joking. Shout out to Little Blay, because walking down the street with this ninja, I told him it was like an NWA rap video where he's just slapping hands with everybody because they know that you're a luchador. You are so much respected there. When you're a luchador, you're on TV because there's a lot of YouTube shows. There's a lot of wrestling on TV on their national stations there. So people see you because you're wrestling every week. You're wrestling 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, training every day. So people know who you are. It's not like here where like, oh, you're a wrestler. That's funny. You and who else? Look at your size. Oh, you do that fake wrestling shit. No. There it's respect. I guess it's the same way in Japan. That like they respect wrestling. They respect the luchadors. They respect what we do. It's just like I could only compare it to Montreal and hockey, but Montreal for the Canadians. So like, that's like
the Canadians
in Mexico,
walk into a bar, people
with Lucha Libre, that's how it is.
Out.
It's the bond that they have. There's facilities made just for wrestling. We don't have that.
No, we don't have that here.
You know, people are renting out legions, or they're renting out churches, renting out halls, renting out gyms, stuff like that to have shows. They actually have mini arenas built for wrestling.
Specifically for wrestling. I love that idea. So most
it was just
people
crazy.
In the leagues you were working, these are wrestlers who they're wrestling every day. These guys, it's not like here where guys have to supplement their income with a job, of course.
I saw some trainers. I was going to lift weights all the time at Hercules Gym, and that's in Mexico City, downtown. And I went at night, maybe around 9 o'clock, to lift some weights. And there was a wrestling training going on. I saw the teacher, okay? I go in the morning to train at maybe 10, 11. I see the same guy teaching another class, and both classes had like 20 to 30 people. And I'm like, okay, this is this guy's job. Fuck that. This guy's just making money. He has classes every day. Maybe the gym's not open on Saturday or Sunday. It's just closed,
shows,
you know. But like, there's like 2, 3 classes, and some gyms maybe 4 classes a day, people coming in to train people. So it's like you could train 2-3 times a day if you want. I did that one time, almost died, but just
So
wanted
how's
to say that I was able to do it. Train in the day, and then you slide in a little weight training in there. Just totally destroy your body and like get ready for that mentality of like we're luchadoring every day. It's really a life. Like I'm ready to do it again. 2 weeks wasn't enough. I just got a taste of it, like because altitude difference, the whole training, how they do everything on the right instead of the left. And I'm like, ah! And I finally get used to it near the end of my run, and then I'm like, I gotta go back now. Okay, shit days. All right, so we got to set this up, especially with the ladies down there. Jesus, I had to go back. It's just a given. So, yeah, we're gonna get back there.
So, what would you say was the highlight of in ring while you were in Mexico?
The first night in Guadalajara, we finished our match, and like. We ended up like doing a promo. Both guys were doing, it was a 3 versus 3, and we're doing a stare off. And the home team, the Mexican team, they
set up right away
and,
a Canada-Mexico angle. Your first match.
That was the first match.
So it's built in. You're already.
Yeah, we're on the poster. I got to the place on a poster, and like I looked to my left, there's a poster of Andre the Giant. I'm like, okay. All right, Andre the Giant used to come here all the time. Tranquilo. Or tranquilo. Nice. So we go, we do the match. Everything happened. It was so sweet. Everything was beautiful. Now they finished doing the promo, and then on our side, Sweet Daddy Soul, since he spoke in Spanish, he starts talking. But as he's talking, and we're staring off, money starts just coming into the ring. And I'm looking around like, huh? Paper money, change money. And then they're done their mic work. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on right now, man? And then Orion, because he's here already. Jeremy's, Sweet Daddy Soul's there already. They straight up told me that means the match was good.
So the fans are actually taking money out of their pocket and like, trying to like, these guys deserve more. You deserve to get paid more.
We turned into strippers at that moment. I never saw that in my life. They shot
definitely doesn't happen in Quebec.
To the point where I'm like, what's going on? And I felt like I had a nervous look in my face. Like, did we do something wrong? You know? So I'm looking like, what's going on? They're like, that means the match was good, bro. And I'm like, so this is ours? They're like, this belongs, we're going to split it in the back after. I'm like, what? So the match is done, or like the whole stare off is done. So one dude picks up all the money. We take a bunch of pictures, blah, 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 because the pictures are not at intermission. They're after your match. You just start taking pictures. Fans just come up to you, take pictures, heel or face. It doesn't matter. The show's over now, or your match is over now. You're out of character, and I want to take a picture of you right now. You hot, sexy Negro, you from Canada. So that's what happened. So we get in the back, and then they drop the money on the ground, and we split up the money, obviously 6 ways. And I was just there, I grabbed my head.
What is happening right now?
What just happened? So I just wrestled.
Totally different culture.
And I could actually say that, when people wish they had a first or something like that, of like something cool or whatever, that's a crazy first, man. What happened in your first match in Mexico? They threw money in the ring after the match. Now,
you'll never forget that one.
For a person like me, in promos, anywhere,
this is ammunition in the gun.
This is the greatest ammunition that anyone could have. Like, someone could diss me or whatever. I'll be like, but first of all, did you ever wrestle in Mexico? And if you did they throw money in the ring, bro? Get the fuck out of here. On Franchise QC on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube, and I won't hit on your girlfriends.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And for all the Quebec wrestling news, go to indiequebec.com.